2 game weeks down in the 2025-26 Premier League season, and it already feels like we've seen a little bit of everything. There's been the good of Richarlison's bicycle kick, the bad of Danny Welbeck's penalty that Jordan Pickford almost dived past, and the ugly of Anthony Gordon's shinraker down the back of Virgil van Dijk. But when it comes to being perfect, only 3 remain. And this weekend, 2 of them play each other. It's got game of the season potential written all over it. And here with all of the answers before it's even kicked off, it's my co-pilot, Lucas Dzinski. How are we doing?
Good. I was actually expecting to you say when you mentioned the ugly about it was going to be about your bets.
Hey, they did all right.
Yeah, not too bad.
We were profitable last weekend, so we're happy with that. Obviously, the Lenny Yaro shot at Fulham was disgracefully unfortunate. We obviously still made profit on that bet with the shot coming in at 2-1, but we lost 4.5 points of profit because he wasn't able to head the ball straight from 3 yards out. Anyway, let's move on because we've got profit to be making on game week 3. And kicking straight off with the early Saturday fixture, it's Chelsea versus Fulham. Can we give Chelsea any credit after what they did to West Ham? Or do we have to chalk every single inch of that down to West Ham being an absolute shambles?
I mean, West Ham are in a terrible place, right? I don't know how much time Potter's got. They just signed, we're recording this Thursday evening, they signed Fernandes from Southampton. Not sure if that's going to answer all their questions and troubles that they have. But, yeah, I mean, look, any team that smashes someone 5-1, you've got to give a bit of credit, but you can't look into it too much, right? If it was any other team, then probably you could increase the rating on Chelsea, but I wouldn't look into it too much. Fulham, on the other hand, I thought they played quite well against United, and they probably created the better chances, and they probably should have won that game on paper, I think.
Yeah, they got stronger as the game went on, didn't they? Whereas United seemed to get weaker.
I mean, let's leave United for the United game because
until the next game.
I got a lot of ammo for that.
It's already painful. Yeah, I mean, in terms of this, I kind of agree with everything you said there. I really like Estevao, by the way, at Chelsea. Really exciting, creative player. They've just signed Garnacho right now. It's just been cleared to their detriment. It's a weird signing for me. 40 million seems like fair enough price, really, from United's side of things. I don't think we're going to get any more from him, considering that everyone knew he wanted to leave and wasn't going to play for us again. So, not the worst deal in the world for us, I don't think. In terms of this game, it's really tough to call. I feel like with the emphasis being on Chelsea, similar to it was at Palace in the first game of the season, it just might be a bit of a struggle for Chelsea to get over the line. They might do it, but I think it'll be a tight affair. Maybe 1-0 Chelsea if I had to make a prediction, but I don't have a bet on it. What's the market saying?
Yeah, I'm not betting myself. I don't think there's any value, but I got Chelsea as 0.84 goals better, so I expect Chelsea to win this game, to be honest. That's where the market's more or less around there as well, so no bet for me.
Cool. All right, let's get this over with. United,
we should have started with this game, to be honest.
You'll note that I've put it in fairly quickly, but we like to do them in some sort of chronological
This should be
order.
the early kickoff or evening game. It should definitely be on TV, this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just want to touch before we discuss the atrocity of last night. I just want to touch on the
last night being.
Yeah. The grimness of Grimsby. You just wanted to hear me say it, right? But let's talk very quickly about Bruno Fernandes against Fulham, because I've hung my hat on this guy for many years, and I've defended him where no one else would, or not many people would. But we have to talk about the penalty situation, because look, I think that I don't blame him for the fact that the referee spoiled his routine. He's a perfectionist when it comes to taking a penalty. It's what makes him so good at penalties. And could he have managed the external factor better? Of course he could have. Nobody's arguing about that. But the fact of the matter is he didn't. And this is where my main problem with it is. He's got to have more self-awareness. He's got to have more self-awareness to go, hang on a minute.
Yeah, but you can't blame his penalty miss on that. The ref bumping into him.
But hang on a minute.
Professional athlete.
Hang on a minute. I'm not saying you can blame it. He should have been able to let it go, right? But the fact of the matter is he wasn't, right? So this is what I'm saying. He needs more self-awareness. He needs to be able to go in that moment. He needs to put his pride to one side and go, hang on a minute, I'm raging. I'm not happy with what the ref's just done. I'm actually in no fit state right this second to take this penalty. He's but listen, hear me out. He's got Cunha and Mbeumo, two players that would love to get off the mark. Mbeumo, who's a brilliant penalty taker, right? Hand the ball over. What's the problem at that point? Going, you know what? He doesn't have to give up penalties altogether. But what's the problem in that moment of going, you know what? Head's gone, wrong frame of mind. Bry, you take this penalty.
But I think he's been like that his whole career, right? His he's never been like mentally strong. Was it last season before that? He was just getting silly yellows, even red cards, right?
I don't think it's necessarily fair to say he's not mentally strong, but what you have to say is he's petulant. He still has that petulant streak, and when he feels like he's been wronged, he's just not able to let it go, and that's what happened with the ref. The referee, it's just such a freak accident, and the referee's just thought nothing of it because he's barely touched it. I hear it, right? But everybody's focusing on that as the daft element. But the bigger concern is the fact that he's not able to recognize it within himself. And he's not able to go, I'm in the wrong frame of mind. Sometimes taking responsibility for your team is handing it off. And that's, for me, the biggest mistake that he made. It's not getting wound up, because it's just who he is. But the biggest mistake is not being able to have the self-awareness of being wound up and then giving the penalty to one of our new players who would have loved to use it as an opportunity to get off the mark. And you know as well as I do, being a Brentford fan, if he'd handed that ball to Mbeumo would have slotted it, right?
Yeah.
So that's
yeah, but look, Bruno had 2 penalties at Grimsby and he did all right? So let's just...
Yeah, but look at Mbeumo's record, right? It's just statistically in that moment, Mbeumo was more likely to score than Fernandes.
Okay.
And he should have been able to do it.
All right.
Let's move on
to the game.
Go on, you talk first then about last night.
I mean, where should I start? Bloody hell. The game was awesome. I mean, United were really even lucky to even get to penalties, to even be drawing the game. It should have been like 3-0 and over. Grimsby had a goal disallowed to make it 3-0, wrongly disallowed because there's no VAR, obviously.
Yeah, but their second goal shouldn't have stood, to caveat that.
Nah, I don't know.
He literally caught the ball before he finished it, Lucas.
That's fine. It's fine when it's against United.
Carry on.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how many more games does Amorim get? Like, where does it stop?
Well, how many more games does he want by the sign?
Yeah, I mean, where does it stop? Like, they were awful last season, awful. Okay, it's 2 games in. Let's not, you can't judge him. But I think he gets 6 more games, and if they don't get any results, then I mean, you have to move him on, right? He's had a whole pre-season.
Yeah. Okay. Look,
then who do you bring?
Okay, I'm not even going to get into that right now. But I've got to come back on last night, right? And again, hear me out on it. And I'm going to caveat before I start by saying you can respond to any of my arguments with, but it's Grimsby, and you lost to Grimsby. And that is a very...
exactly, yeah.
And that's a very fair comeback, right? That argument trumps everything I'm about to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But I'm still going to try and put it in perspective, because I have to, because we're on a podcast talking about it.
Perspective, okay.
Right? So let me try and put it in some perspective. First of all, let's look at the thing that you love the most, which is stats and which is data, right? Yeah. They registered 1.61, but 0.98 of that came from the second goal that Onana flapped at like a massive crow and drifted in off somebody's chest, right? So if you take that out of the equation, their XG was less than 0.6, and we registered an XG of 2.87. So in terms of expected data, if we'd been offered that before the game, of course we'd have taken it, right? Yes, it's still Grimsby. I hear it. But ultimately, look, we know this with United. Rome's not built in a day. It was another bad performance. It was another bad result. But we've just brought in a load of new players. We're still getting used to everything, still putting it into gears. It was a shocking night. And it is what it is. And we're going to have more shocking nights. And we know that because it's part of a long-term process. What did we think was going to happen?
Okay, but when does the long-term process not be a long-term process? Well,
that's a great question. I don't know. But ultimately, the point is, you don't just buy 3 players, click your fingers, and suddenly everything's perfect. It takes more time. And the worst thing about United last night for me was Amorim's interviews after the game. Because as bad as United were, right, I'm sick of the crypticness. This is a manager that offered to leave the club last year. He's making comments like, change has to happen, and it can't be the players. Like it's like all that's going to do is lead to speculation that Amorim doesn't want to be there, Amorim's going to leave, and so on and so forth. And the upheaval and disruption caused by that, it's so petty and it's childish, and I don't understand why he'd come out after the game. I get he's hurting, and I'm glad he's hurting because he should be, but why is he making comments like that? We're meant to be together. He's talking about the team not being together. He is just as much a part of that. He has to be together with the team. And making comments like this in the media to generate this sort of speculation is ridiculous, because while the players at United were shocking last night, I don't believe that anyone downed tools, right? I don't. I just believe they were shit, right? Excuse my language. I just believe that they were that bad. That's what I think. So that's the first grievance that I have, one of the biggest ones. Second grievance, very quickly, goalkeeper, right? I don't care what club you are. PSG wouldn't win trophies with either Onana or Bayender in goal. Agree? Pretty much, right? So the goalkeeper situation is a nightmare. Onana was at fault for both of them last night. If that doesn't happen, we win the game comfortably, right? So ultimately, we have to get a goalkeeper in. It sounds like we're getting one in. How good he is, I don't actually know, but we'll have to. The jury.
Yeah, but you don't need. I mean, yeah, Nana's not the right person clearly for the job, but you don't need a super world class keeper to finish in the top half of the table, do you?
And that's what we're getting. We're spending 19 million on a goalkeeper from Belgium. His XG save percentage from expected goals on target last year looks incredibly strong. He saves an extra 15 goals, so
no, we'll see.
But let's see. But that's good that we're doing that, because I don't want to see Onana or Bayender in a Man United shirt ever again, right? The next thing is the system. It doesn't work, right? If you're going to... His system with wing-backs, right? The two in midfield will just always get overrun, particularly when one of them is attack-minded, as Bruno is, who doesn't follow his men,
So
right?
you reckon he's another Ange?
I don't know. I think he is too committed. I think he is too indebted to the system, too wedded to the system. Yes, I do. And I think he needs to cut it now, cut his losses. We need a double pivot and three in midfield. I would go 4-3-3 with a double pivot of Ugarte and Mainu, who should be playing more minutes, and Bruno just ahead of them.
Well, Mainu might be going, right?
It sounds like it, which is crazy. But that's what I would do. Like, you've got to change. Wingbacks isn't working. The fact that if we're lining up with Bruno and Casemiro, who's dribbled past more times than any player in the Premier League 2 years ago, right? And Bruno, who doesn't want to defend, who's not programmed to defend, we are just going to get overrun by everyone. And I'll give you the money from our wager on United pre-season right now, if that's the two that
I did say. Hold on, didn't you say United going to finish 6th or 5th?
I said 6th plus, but
there you go.
I'm
there you go.
With that bet. But we need anyway. Amorim, change the system, because we need a third one. And then the very, very well, that's kind
still
of
going. Are we going to talk about the end of the game or not?
Finish my list. So they're kind of the biggest grievances I have. So make it.
All right. So on to the game.
Let's talk about the game. I think United will win. I actually do. I think we'll get. I'd like to hope there'll be a response. It's the perfect fixture at home to Burnley. Like, genuinely, Old Trafford, crowd behind us. The crowd are always supportive in moments like this. I think we'll get over the line actually quite comfortably. I think we'll win
quite comfortably. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. I mean, I don't have a bet on here, but I reckon Burnley are a bit of value, plus 1.25. But nah, not touching this. I don't think there's enough value for me.
Fair enough. Obviously, I'm not touching it either. And even if we do win fairly comfortably, it doesn't even begin to solve our problems, of course. Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Are Tottenham now top 4 contenders?
I think that's a bit too soon, to be honest.
Do you?
I think Frank, obviously Frank's a really good manager, but it's only 2 games in, right? Yeah, they had a really good performance against City. They actually lost the XG battle, but they were really clinical on the break. Saying that, I think they need a few more games to understand where they can finish, right? I mean, I still think top 4 is going to be a push, but we'll see.
The reason I pose the question is because I've been really impressed by Frank. It's not just about the fact that he's setting up his team to win certain games in certain ways, but he's so adaptable. He set his team up in 3 different ways to win 3 different types of games in his tenure so far, and he's done a brilliant job in 3 very, very different situations, which I think should inspire a lot of confidence. I think they'll be roundabouts. Actually, maybe again top four a tiny bit of a stretch, but fifth or sixth,
Yeah.
absolutely should be roundabout there.
Yeah, I mean, like 6th, 7th, 5th, something like that. I mean, fair play if Frank managed to get him to top four, that'd be amazing. Be good to see how he does in the Champions League, to be honest.
It is, and I think it'd be good to see how he does in this game because Bournemouth away is always a test, and they will cause problems. I think this one's got goals written all over it. If I was going to go any way, I might tip Tottenham to win with both scoring 2-1, 3-2, something like this. I think it'd be an entertaining watch.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention that I don't really bet the first few game weeks because I like to kind of almost the teams to recalibrate to the season because there's a lot of change and like manager changes, pre-season, all that kind of stuff.
It's effectively allowing your model to catch up with all of that.
Yeah, basically, I feel like the first few games were quite difficult, so I don't usually bet first 3-4 game weeks. But saying that, I've been impressed with Bournemouth. Obviously, minus we smashed them in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. But anyway, I feel like the handicap they got is massive. So I have actually Tottenham as pretty much same on the handicap, but like 0.05 favoured to them. And the line is 0.075. So there's a huge value on Bournemouth. So look, if I was betting, I'd be backing Bournemouth here. I think they can get a draw out of this at least.
Interesting. There you go. An early shout. Maybe if it was 3 weeks down the line, that would be an official tip. So
yeah,
definitely worth paying some attention to that one out there. And I mean, you just managed to get in the Brentford plug there in terms of the good Carabao Cup result, and it's a very nice segue straight onto their fixture away at Sunderland, which also involves the first official tip of game week 3. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, go on then. Both teams to score.
No, I've got Brentford to win.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a very solid price, 2.74 on the exchanges. You told me that Sunderland were very lucky to win 3-0 against West Ham at the start, that their data defied the fact that they managed to score 3, shouldn't have scored anything like 3. I also just thought that they didn't really lay a glove on Burnley last week, and that's just alarm bells for me. It was like one step forward, one and a half steps back really last week, because that was the sort of game I think they need to get points from if they're really going to mount a challenge to stay up.
Yeah, at least Brentford, get a draw, right?
I think getting that first win on the board at home was so important for Keith Andrews. I can't even explain it. Like that confidence that will have given him as a first-time Premier League manager, that will give him the team. I think they look a team as well. I think Thiago, particularly up front, leading the line, he's kind of galvanising the troops. He's playing a real leadership role up there. As you say,
Otara looked like really good. I think he's going to do bits for us this season, honestly.
He's lightning quick, and I just think if you look player for player, I think Brentford have got more power than Sunderland and more goal-scoring potential. I know the Stadium of Light is a little bit of a fortress, but I just think Brentford at 2.74 is too big to ignore. So that's an official tip.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brentford were value early in the week, but the price has massively come in for Brentford. I think a draw no bet was evens. Now it's 1.8. So yeah, obviously the market's favouring Brentford.
Like? Is it still hanging around 2.74?
2.55 now.
Oh, okay.
So it's coming in.
I'd say 2.5 and above.
Yeah, I think it's more value. Look, Brentford got pretty much full strength team. I feel like the first game of the season against Forest. I think Andrews got the team completely wrong, and also we had quite a few key people injured, like Damsgaard was out. Henderson, weirdly, I think he's going to be a key player for us at the start of the season. I don't think he's going to play that many games, but he's definitely going to start against Sunderland. He looked really good against Villa, to be honest.
Might fuel the fire up there a little bit more, but anyway.
Yeah, score a goal, celebrate, and all that. And also, Sutler, you got to keep remembering that Sunderland, they've basically played with a completely new squad, right? It's going to take them a while to galvanise and create chances and stuff like that.
Yep.
To gel, etc. To know how to play. Also, they've got quite a few injuries as well. So, team users on Brentford side. So yeah, I kind of agree with you for once.
I think the other way of looking at this is, if this game was being played twice, I'd absolutely expect Brentford to win one of the two. which would make even money value. And so 2.5 plus, I'd be happy to still back them out there. Wolves versus Everton. What a dour fixture this is. I actually don't have anything on this. I think that Strand Larsen obviously wants to go to Newcastle. They've just signed this striker from Stuttgart tonight for 75 million, which is probably going to pave the way for Isak as well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're going to go back in with Strand Larsen. I can't actually believe Wolves turned down 55 million for Strand Larsen. I think that's incredible.
I don't understand why they didn't want to pay an extra 5 mil for Visser and instead paying that for Larsen.
Exactly, same.
Apparently they still want Visser. I mean, look, they need more than one striker, right?
Yeah,
and
they
I
need
think
a second
Visser
one.
will be good because look, Visser will come in, Premier League experience, he can hit the ground running, right? Straight away.
I would 100% prefer Wissa to Strand Larsen.
Yeah.
but that's just me. But I think 55 million for Strand Larsen was too much. I am surprised Newcastle offered it, and I think it's a sign of desperation. And I'm really surprised that Wolves turned it down. In terms of the game,
Thing is, it's so late in the market, right? If they did it at the start of the season, maybe Wolves would have took the offer, right? It's so hard to like replace someone this late on. Not hard, but like maybe a club like Wolves aren't just prepared for that.
That's true. And then once you accept the Strand Larsen money, everybody knows how much you've got to spend on a striker as well, which makes your bargaining power less strong. What have you got in terms of the game? What's your model saying?
Nothing this game, to be honest. I have the teams fairly even. Not much between them, so maybe expect a close game.
I think we're both safely saying it's a leave when it comes to a bet.
Yeah,
if you want a prediction from me, I'd take a swing on Everton. I feel like Grealish has settled in really, really well, but it's not anything I've got any confidence behind whatsoever. However, I do have a very debatable tip for the next game, which I'm almost having second thoughts as I look at it again right now. It's Leeds versus Newcastle. Just to talk about Newcastle quickly, because against Liverpool, they were obviously phenomenal, and the way that they battled back into the game.
I did say that was a big head-to-head for us, right? I did say Liverpool aren't looking great.
Have you noticed my resolve? We had two huge head-to-heads last week where you were ultra confident. I won both of them, right? One of them comfortably, and
yeah, on paper, but like the way the game played out, probably not.
Oh my God, you're just never going to say yes, Connell, you were right?
No, because were Liverpool lucky to win?
Yes, Liverpool were a little bit lucky to win, but
very lucky.
But the
fact against 10 men.
The fact is they did win, and the fact is the other one, Nottingham Forest, comfortably deserved to get the result they got.
Nah.
So, what did you put it down to? Variance. That's the text I got after that game. It's just variance.
Yeah.
Anyway, in terms of this one, my main takeaway though, because watching the first half, Newcastle battered Liverpool, absolutely battered them, and then Ryan Gravenberch pops up out of nowhere with an incredible strike. I remember thinking that's truly smash and grab. And then I looked at the XG on it, and for everything Newcastle did right in the first half hour, for 35, 40 minutes, they only generated 0.59 worth of XG in that period. And that just sent alarm bells through me, because I'm kind of thinking, as well as they can play, I'm just not convinced by them going forward and their ability to put the ball in the net. Anthony Gordon is not a number 9. And without a number 9, they're going to struggle. I admit...
He's suspended anyway.
He's suspended anyway, yeah. Well,
and Joe Linton's injured, I think.
He's injured as well, okay. They both help my bet.
That's big.
Their striker tonight has come in. Hopefully he won't be ready in time for the weekend, because that definitely okay, that's good then, because that makes it more likely that my bet is in better shape. I just think Leeds at home here can get a result. So I've gone Leeds plus a quarter at 2.06.
Yeah, I don't think they... Well, to be honest, if Gordon and Joe Linton were fit, I'd be like, no, I think that's a ridiculous bet. But them being out, I reckon it'll even out the playing field a bit more. I think it's tough. Look, Gordon's really key player for them, especially with Isak out and Joe Linton as well. So two really important players. So I'm going to stay away from that.
I just don't trust Newcastle to score goals at the moment. And unless that changes here, the bet lands. So let's see what happens with that one. Brighton versus Man City. Is it safe to say that both managers need a result here?
Probably. Brighton, actually, I think they were quite unlucky to lose against Everton. They beat them quite comfortably on XG. And obviously City as well. Like, the City game was obviously quite tough, I'd say, because like Frank knew how to set up based on experiences at Brentford. They did have significantly better chances, so you can say he was unlucky not to win that game. But yeah, this could be a decent game, and I feel like there's a bit of value on Brighton actually. I have the game quite even. I have City only 0.17 goals better, and the market at the moment is saying, what is writing? Oh, there we go. Plus a half at even. So yeah, there's a bit of value on Brighton. So I can see it being a tight game, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be really tight. I think Man City would love to get out of there with any sort of win. So the value on Brighton makes sense to me. I just think Brighton have been a bit underwhelming at the start of this season. I think Herzler needs to get them up to this one. City had a good result at Wolves, but the more that we see of Wolves, that result is standing for less and less. I didn't feel like City really laid a glove on Tottenham, to be honest. I was pretty disappointed with them, and yeah, I think that bouncing back here is really important, because if they don't win this game, then they're going to be minimum of 5 points behind the winner of Arsenal-Liverpool, right? That's a big deficit.
Yeah, I mean, you know how City go, right? They always finish strong, but I guess after last season, they kind of need to start strong as well.
Yeah, and they've still got players.
So yeah, like you said, it's a bit of a must-win for City.
No, but wouldn't go as far as must-win, but
not must-win, but come on, if you got challenge for the league, challenge for the title, you need to be winning against Brighton away, right?
100%. All right, so I mean, no bets from me here.
No.
I'll against my better judgment, I'll tip City to just get over the line 2-1. You think Brighton are a bit of value? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Maybe a draw?
I reckon. I reckon Brighton plus a half would be quite a good shout. I reckon it could end a draw.
Okay, so effectively double chance. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. This brings about my nap for game
nap.
3.
What, Forest to 0.
Just quickly on West Ham, I think the worry I have for them and the worry I have for Potter is that Graham Potter has already shown he's a good manager at certain clubs, and very progressive. He takes time to get things right. It's not a sudden come in and instant impact. And I think the problem is it's not really suited to West Ham. What they need now is kind of an all-rising...
Big Sam.
Hey?
Big Sam.
No, God, no. But I think what they need now is an all-conquering kind of Wolf of Wall Street, speech coming in like, everything changes now. This is how we lift things. Whether it's a little bit of a rollicking, whether it's a little bit of a...
Di Canio.
I still believe in you kind of approach. And you just can't imagine Potter with that much emotion. I struggle to imagine him kind of going, right, everything that's gone on this season, it ends now. This is how we change. This is how we improve and pick up. I don't see him as that kind of manager. It's kind of like, all right, guys, we've done this and this is what's happened, but this is how we've got to work through it. It's just that I think they need something a little bit bigger, a bigger impact in general. So I worry for them and I worry for him. In terms of the game, I'm not trying to predict the result, but my tip is player-based. And I'm looking at West Ham, and everybody knows, of course, that they need more legs in midfield. But they haven't got them. And they're going to stick with the same midfield, and it's one of the players in that midfield that I want to target, and his name is Thomas Souček. Souček always has an eye for goal. He loves arriving late into the box for cutbacks. He's a threat at set pieces because he's so tall. In the 2 games so far in the Premier League this season, he has registered a shot on target in both, and that includes when they got absolutely battered 5-1 by Chelsea. Last night, he actually scored in the Carabao Cup against Wolves, which I hated to see because I already had the bet on by this point. I was like, no, it's gonna move his price. Thankfully, it hasn't moved his price, so that's good news.
They bottled that game hard as well.
They did. But yeah, and I think he is a really, really solid option for a shot on target here against Nottingham Forest. I think his price is way too fair and too generous. So I'm backing a Thomas Souček shot on target at a price of 3.25. The other really exciting thing about last night is they had two midfielders, Ward Price and I've forgotten the name of the other one, sat behind him, and he was actually in a more advanced role. He's playing just off the strikers. And for a player playing just off the strikers to be priced at 3.25 for a shot on target, considering his threat at set pieces, is a must bet. So that's the nap for me of the weekend. What's your model saying on the game?
I got no bet myself, but I think Forest will win this comfortably. I got them like 0.6 better than West Ham. I don't know how many games Potter's got left, but I can't see him winning this one.
Cool, okay. There you have it. Happy to move on to the game that I talked about having game of the season potential. It's a clash of the
I don't understand why they've crammed all these like massive games like in the first 3 weeks. It's it's so stupid.
It's a random fixture generator.
No, it's not a random fixture generator.
What?
They always move it around. There's always rules around like Boxing Day and around Christmas and like that, right? It's always going to be like short distances and stuff like that.
Okay.
Some of that, but like, look, like it's obviously not random. Like it's a bit of randomness, but like, yeah, I think stuff like that, like they need to like move that around to make it a bit more exciting.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, anyway.
Let's talk about the game itself. What are you thinking?
I got Liverpool as being the better team out of the two, to be honest, but I feel like it's going to be a bit of a draw. I think Liverpool haven't been great this season. They've been conceding a lot of goals, whereas before, they had probably one of the best defences along with Arsenal. Arsenal, again, historically one of the best defences. It's going to be an interesting game. I just hope Arteta goes all out for it, but I know what he's going to do. They're going to get a goal and just sit back and park the bus. And then Liverpool will come, score a goal, and it'll be like a draw, and they'll settle for a draw.
Okay.
I think for this, I agree with you. It's game of the season because like either team can't lose this game. So I feel like because they're tipped to be first, second ultimately. So I feel like if it's a draw, both teams will be happy. Obviously, they all both want the win, right? But if you go away and ask them, like, oh, you got to draw this game, they'll take that, I reckon. They just can't give away any yards to the opposition team in the league. They just can't. 3 points is huge.
I agree. And I've got a tip on it as well. You made a really good case for the draw there. So I wouldn't put people off going on the draw outright here. Because I agree, both teams would take a draw right now, particularly Arsenal. But I think as you say, game feels too early. It feels like good timing for Arsenal because I think they've settled a little bit more than Liverpool. Liverpool's still a little bit too open for me. I still have issues with the Liverpool balance in midfield with Florian Wirtz playing quite high up. Obviously, Gravenberch came in and did quite well, but look at this. Liverpool have been worrying at the start of the season. They were too open against Bournemouth. Newcastle played them off the park with 10 men. So I do have my concerns for them. And Arsenal, they've not fully clicked into top gear, but they still blew leads away without even trying. And they found a way to get it done at a tough ground like Old Trafford. So I think that Arsenal...
Tough ground like Old Trafford.
I'm surprised it took you so long to bite on
it.
But
that's
I think
hilarious.
the Arsenal double chance at 1.81 is fine. And I wouldn't put anybody up. Well, I'm saying I wouldn't put people off. I've bet on it. So it goes down as an official tip here. I think that it should land. I think Arsenal are in a better place than Liverpool. And I think that Arsenal midfield have Rice, Lubamendi, Odegaard, if he plays, can dominate that midfield. If Florian, particularly when Florian Wirtz goes wandering around, then I just have a little bit of concern there for Liverpool. But to caveat that, it's tough to get a win away at Anfield. Always has been, always will be in these tough games. So your shot of the draw might actually make even more sense than my Arsenal double chance suggestion. But if you want to play safe, I mean, obviously that's my official tip. It's Arsenal double chance. I'm just saying I wouldn't put people off backing the draw outright as well. Finally, we have Villa versus Palace. I can't believe I'm going to ask this question, but does Unai Emery want out? I think he might.
I think, I mean, towards the end of last season, they weren't great, to be honest, were they? And this year, I mean, the first game, they could barely registered any attacks. I think the first game they had something like 0.2 XG. Last week against Brentford, they did create some XG, but there wasn't any clear-cut chances. I think Brentford scored fairly early on, dominated the kind of first half, second half to kind of sit back a bit, and I don't think Villa looked much of a threat. I think, it's a bit of a difficult almost like transition period for Villa, isn't it? Because I feel like Emery's kind of bit stuck almost. And also Palace have their own issues, right? They just played in Norway today. They went through, so that's fine. But they're playing Sunday, right? It's a very quick turnaround, and they've lost Eze. Who knows what's going to happen with Gahey? The window shuts on Monday. I think it is Monday or Tuesday. Monday.
I think it's Monday.
Yeah, and if someone puts a bid in, he's not going to play Sunday, is he? So I think they only bought they didn't have a full bench today to go to Norway, so they're short on players. Saying that, I do think Palace are some value here, a plus a half. Don't like Villa at all this season. Palace, I still think Glasner can do a job, to be honest. But yeah, what I'll do, I'd wait for personnel. If Gahey started, that's obviously a massive boost.
Yeah, fair. I mean, look, just going back to Villa quickly, I feel like they're on a bit of a come down from last season, because last season was a very glamorous season. Incredible Champions League run, performing above their expectation, huge games against PSG and Bayern Munich, and these kind of really attractive games that you always want to be a part of. They were bringing in really good players like Rashford, Asensio on loan, and Villa Park was just an unbelievable place to be. And now this season's come and gone. The loan players have gone back. They've not really done that much transfer business. They're in the Europa League now. They're not in the Champions League. I just feel like Emery's just looking at it like this season is nowhere near as exciting as last. And the first couple of performances reflected that. I mean, the first one...
What do you mean? He loves Europa League.
He does, but it's not the Champions League. And the first season... Sorry, not the first season. The first game against Newcastle, maybe you forgive him a little bit because they created nothing, but it's the first one back. But I was expecting a rocket up their arses in a performance at Brentford, and it just didn't happen. And I'm just kind of wondering where Emery's a little bit done with it and thinking maybe I'll go back to Spain or some... I don't know. It's all my own speculation. But
I don't know.
I just wouldn't be trusting Villa until I see a good performance out of them. I'll back them. I'm not betting on this game, of course. If I was pushed for a prediction, I will tip them to get over the line with the difficulties at Palace and the uncertainties and the trip to Norway. They've just had to negotiate and all of these kind of things. So maybe Villa scrape it, but I definitely need to see more of a performance coming in from Aston Villa. Right, let's recap. Obviously, you are still not going to dip your toe in yet.
Nope.
Some good insights given there, and maybe game week 4 is when we will finally see my co-pilot rise from the ashes. But in the meantime, you've still got 4 excellent tips to get your teeth into. All of these are surefire.
Excellent. Not sure if they're excellent coming from you.
So we're going to start off with Brentford at 2.74 or just over 2.5 now to win away at Sunderland. We're going Leeds plus a quarter plus 0.25. That means that if it's a draw, we win half the bet. And if they win, obviously we win the full bet. That's at 2.06. We have got Souček's shot on target for West Ham away at Nottingham Forest, which is priced at 3.25, which is my nap. And then finally, we have Arsenal to go away to Anfield and get a result. Any result, as long as they don't lose. And that is priced at 1.81. So there you have it. Game week 3 analysis and predictions done and dusted. Enjoy your football and take care of yourselves.
Cheers.